on the tube, Jeff Marshall makes his attempt to get into the record books.
You just spent half an hour on a train. You think this is bad? You should try doing it for 19 hours.
While Brian's got the power off for the repair team.
There's 630 volts running through those live rails.
Customer information, there are no more westbound Jubilee Line services from London Bridge Station tonight. The last westbound...
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the control room at London Bridge. There are no more trains from this station this evening.
It's 12:30 a.m. and although the last train has left London Bridge, Station Supervisor Brian Valentine will be working through the night.
Plenty of contractors coming in, maintenance work going on, new works, track work, you name it, it's going on. Hello.
Hello, mate. All right, just finished, actually.
Just finished?
Yeah.
Engineering hours on the Underground are severely limited. There are only 4 hours a night for essential repairs to be carried out.
Tube doesn't run all night because we need to do maintenance work. We've got single track tunnels. We're not like New York where they've got double track tunnels. This is the up line and that's the down line. You've now got room to stand there, you've got room to stand there, and you've got room to stand where he is. So you can allow trains to pass. That allows you to work. Where you've got a single track tube tunnel, if you imagine that's your tube tunnel, the train fits there and you may have 3 inches of room, so you cannot expect men to work down there while the current's on. There's 630 volts running through those live rails. So everything must come to a standstill for people to work in safety.
From a hotel in Chesham at the end of the Metropolitan line, Jeff Marshall, a computer technician, and Dave Brooks are planning to get into the Guinness Book of Records.
So if we're going to beat it, we're only going to beat it by about 10 minutes.
Tomorrow, they'll make their second attempt to get to all 275 stations on the Underground in around 19 hours to beat the current world record.
If we're going to make up time, at least one of them is on that run from North Harrow to West Harrow, which I think we can do better on. That's faster. Secondly, if we don't get caught up at Hainault, where we had to wait 13 minutes, if we can get a train that goes direct to Epping, we'll save time there.
Why are we doing it? The reason why I'm doing it, I've always been fascinated in the tube, and I'm not about to beat any world records for being the world's strongest man or anything. So, but this is something I can do. We can do. We can beat this record, can't we? We're ready. We'll do it.
Every night, the traction current is switched off on the Underground to allow the engineers to carry out maintenance work on the tracks. It's always a race against time.
At night time I've got a different set of problems, different set of people, but by and large contractors aren't as much trouble as customers.
Never.
That's what I said, by and large they're not. I've got more control over contractors than I have customers.
Tonight, Mark Curry is replacing insulators on the 630 volt rails. Any mistake in the measurements could be disastrous.
The tunnel here, it's very, the size of it is specific to the size of the train. And there's not a great deal of clearance, so if this rail is too high, the top of the train would hit the tunnel. Because working 6 nights a week down here, knowing that you've got a nice warm bed at home, and you're longing to get into it in the mornings, but you change the way that you live. She's loose, go on, bring it out. We don't have that long on engineering hours, and for trains to run in the morning, everything's got to be set and gauged and into position, ready for trains to run safely.
The engineers have to be off the track by 5 a.m. so the current can be switched back on in time for the first train. Jeff and Dave's world record attempt won't get off to a good start if there are any delays on the tube.
Spot on.
It's still dark when Jeff and Dave arrive at their first station.
It's very early, it's 5:10, we're at Chesham, top left-hand corner of the tube map. Why? Yeah, why? Can't I go back to bed? Yes, but in 19 hours' time. Thanks, mate. 1 inch. Guinness World Records say you don't actually have to take a photo of every station, you just have to supply sufficient material to prove that you were there at certain times. Say tube. The one thing they do insist on is a logbook, which I have, which we have to write down where you were, at what time you got to what station, what time you got there. We leave in 4 minutes. Although having said that, the 5:23 has previously left at 5:25. My first part of the journey is the Cheshire branch, up to Amherst, the Watford branch, and all the way down to Preston Road in Norfolk Park. It depends where we can change. And this whole lot takes you about just under 2 hours to do. So that's what, about 12, 13, 14, 15 station in 2 hours. It's a very low return.
As their journey begins, Brian Valentine is coming to the end of his night shift at London Bridge.
Morning, Brian. How are you? How's your long shift been last night?
Very long, as you've just said, mate. Long and tiring, thank you, and I'm looking forward to going home.
Contractors?
No, there weren't that many. I was out and about quite a bit of the night. Oh, God. It's the early commuters that come in on the main line and catch our first trains out of here. I need another supervisor to come in here and take me off. And as soon as someone does that, I'm going to change and get on my bike.
Northern Line running?
Yeah, there was a Edgware, Golders Green to Edgware was suspended, a bit of a problem.
What to do?
This morning. Only Golders Green to Edgware, I think it's back in now. Isn't it?
Luckily, Jeff and Dave are nowhere near the signal failures at Golders Green. They're still on the Metropolitan line.
Just having a quick limber up warm up because after an hour and a half your body hasn't moved very far. We're about to run. First run of the day is an 8-minute run, and your body's not expecting it. Suddenly you've been sat on the train for an hour and a half. Suddenly you just go running off down a cold morning, and you just need to warm up first.
6:52.
They're only allowed to move between stations